Cadet Alex Martinez looked out the viewport of the USS Valiant. The training ship moved slowly through the neutral zone between human space and Kraxan territory. Alex was a third-year cadet with top marks in tactical training but zero real combat experience. Today was supposed to be a simple training mission. Scan the border, practice some maneuvers, and return to base. "Sensor reading normal, sir," said Cadet Olivia Grant from the navigation station. Her blonde hair was pulled back in a neat regulation bun. Like Alex, this was her first deep space mission. Alex nodded. As the highest-ranking cadet on the bridge for this shift, he had temporary command. The real officers were in a training, meeting 2 decks below. It was meant to give the cadets a taste of responsibility, but nothing important was supposed to happen. The ship computer beeped suddenly. "Warning, unknown vessels approaching." Alex moved quickly to the main sensor display. "Show me." The screen lit up with 3 red dots moving fast toward their position. Alex felt his heart beat faster. "Those are Kraxan fighters," he said, recognizing the shape from his studies. The Kraxan were a reptilian species, tall and fierce warriors, with a reputation for showing no mercy. Humans had an uneasy peace with them, but incidents still happened, especially in the neutral zone. "Should we call the captain?" asked William Peters, a nervous first-year cadet at the communications station. "Yes, now," said Alex. He pressed his own comm button. "Bridge to Captain Hayes. We have 3 Kraxan vessels approaching fast." The only response was static. "Communications are being jammed," said Peters, his face going pale. "I can't reach anyone off the bridge." The ship rocked suddenly, throwing Alex against the railing. "They're firing on us!" shouted Olivia from navigation. "Shield strength at 70%. Another blast hit them, harder this time. The lights flickered, and emergency alarms began to sound. "Damage report," Alex called out, trying to keep his voice steady like the officers did in training simulations. "Hull breach on deck 3, said Peters, reading from his screen. "Automatic seals engaged. Engineering reports the main power coupling is damaged. We're running on backup power." Alex tried to think clearly. They were outgunned and outmatched. The training vessel had basic weapons, but nothing that could stand against real Kraxan fighters. "Can we run?" he asked Olivia. She shook her head. "Not at full speed. They've hit our engine control systems. We can move, but not fast enough to escape." The main screen flickered and a face appeared. Alex had never seen a real Kraxan before, only in training videos. The alien was at least 8 feet tall with green-gray scales and yellow eyes with vertical pupils. Sharp teeth showed when he spoke. "Human vessel. This is Commander Vikraz of the Kraxan Defense Fleet. You have violated our territory. Surrender, immediately, or be destroyed." Alex stood straighter. "This is Cadet Martinez of the USS Valiant. We are in the neutral zone, not Kraxan territory. Our mission is peaceful." The Kraxan commander made a sound that might have been laughter. "Your navigation is poor, human. You crossed the border 10 minutes ago. We have been tracking you since then." Alex looked at Olivia, who checked her instruments, and then shook her head. "Our readings show we're still in the neutral zone," she whispered. "Commander, there must be a mistake," Alex said. "Our instruments show..." "Enough!" The Kraxan's voice boomed through the speakers. "We detected weapons activation from your vessel. This is an act of aggression." "That's not true," Alex protested. "We haven't activated any weapons." The ship shook again as another blast hit them. "Shields at 40%, called out Cadet Jordan Miller from the tactical station. "One more hit like that and they'll be down." The Kraxan commander leaned closer to the screen. "You have 10 minutes to surrender your vessel, or we will destroy you. Lower your shields and prepare to be boarded." The screen went black. Alex looked around the bridge. 5 cadets looked back at him, fear clear in their eyes. He pressed the ship-wide comm. "This is Cadet Martinez. All senior officers report to the bridge immediately." Silence was the only answer. "Internal communications are down too," said Peters, "and the turbo lifts aren't working. We're cut off from the rest of the ship." Alex tried to stay calm. "Damage control teams should be responding. We need to find out what happened to the command crew." Cadet Rebecca Young spoke up from the science station. "I'm picking up strange readings. Some kind of gas was released in the officers' meeting room when the attack started. Life signs are present but weak. Alex realized what had happened. They knew exactly when and where to hit us. This was planned. They waited until the officers were all in one place. "What do we do?" asked Olivia, her voice barely steady. "We can't fight, we can't run, and we can't reach help." Alex looked at each face on the bridge. First and second year cadets, none with real combat experience. And now they were looking to him for leadership. The ship's AI spoke in its calm voice. "Analysis complete. Probability of survival if we attempt to flee, 2.7%. Probability of survival if we surrender, unknown." "What about fighting back?" Alex asked. "Probability of victory in direct combat, 0.3%, the AI replied. Alex walked slowly to the captain's chair and sat down. This wasn't how he imagined his first command. "How many crew are still conscious?" he asked. 78, said Rebecca from the science station. "Mostly cadets. The gas seems to have been pumped into areas where officers would be." Alex nodded. "And how many of them have combat training?" Rebecca checked her console. 23 have completed basic tactical training. Alex looked at the tactical display. The cracks on ships had positioned themselves to block the fastest escape route. Their formation was familiar somehow, triggering a memory from his tactical history studies. "Sir, we have 7 minutes until their deadline," said Peters. "What are your orders?" Olivia's hands trembled over the navigation controls. "What do we do?" Alex narrowed his eyes at the display. Something about the way the Craxon had set up their blockade wasn't right. They had left a small gap, almost invisible unless you knew what to look for. "They expect us to run, fight, or surrender," he said quietly. "But there's a fourth option they haven't considered." He stood up and faced his fellow cadets. "I'm not surrendering this ship, at least not in the way they think." "What do you mean?" asked Jordan from Tactical. A small smile formed on Alex's face. "Get me everything we have on Craxon ship designs. And I need a list of every cadet with special operations training, even if it's just simulations." "What are you planning?" Olivia asked. "They ordered us to surrender," Alex said, a new confidence in his voice. "So that's exactly what we'll do. But then we're going to take their ship instead." The 7 cadets gathered around the tactical display table. 6 minutes remained before the Craxon deadline. Alex pointed to the holographic image of the enemy ships. "The Craxon expect us to surrender conventionally," he said. "We're going to use that expectation against them." Olivia looked doubtful. "How? We're just cadets." "Exactly why they won't see this coming," Alex replied. He brought up the schematics of a Craxon vessel. "This is their command ship. It's a DCS-190 model. I studied it for my advanced ship design class last semester." The other cadets stared at the rotating image. The Craxon vessel was 3 times the size of their training ship, with heavy weapons on all sides. "I memorized these plans," Alex continued. "If we can get aboard, I know how to navigate their systems." "Get aboard?" Jordan looked shocked. "You want us to board their ship? That's crazy." Alex shook his head. "Not all of us. A small team, me and 3 others." "Even if we could get on their ship," said Rebecca, "what then? The Craxon are stronger than humans. They stand 8 feet tall and have natural armor." "We don't fight them directly," Alex explained. "We use their own systems against them." "Rebecca, you're in xenobiology, right?" She nodded. "Top of my class." "What affects Craxon physiology but not humans?" Rebecca thought for a moment. "Several compounds. Their respiratory system is sensitive to certain gases that don't affect us much." Alex smiled. "Can you make something that would knock them out without killing them? From our medical supplies?" "Yes, I think so. A modified sedative gas could work." Alex turned to William at communications. "Can you reach anyone in engineering?" William tried several channels. "Got someone. Cadet Ben Foster reports that engineering is secure. About 12 cadets there, but no officers." "Perfect. Ask if they can modify a shuttle's identification codes to make it look like a surrender vessel." While William relayed the message, Alex continued planning. Jordan, what weapons can we smuggle that won't show on cracks and scanners? Jordan checked. The weapons locker. Ceramic knives, maybe. And there are some carbon fiber stun batons in security storage. Get them, Alex ordered. Olivia, I need you to stay here and take command of the Valiant while we're gone. Her eyes widened. Me? But I'm just a second year. You're the best pilot we have, Alex said firmly. If things go wrong, you need to get this ship to safety. Olivia straightened her back and nodded. William turned from his console. Engineering says they can modify the shuttle in 5 minutes. And they found something else you might want to see. The turbolift doors opened and a tall cadet with dark hair walked onto the bridge. Cadet Ryan Garcia reporting, sir. Engineering sent me up with this. He held up a small device. What is it? Alex asked. A portable environmental control bypass. We use it in training to simulate emergency situations. With some adjustments, it could interface with a cracks and life support system. Alex took the device, examining it carefully. Perfect, you're with me, Garcia. For what, sir? We're taking the Kraxon ship. Ryan's eyes widened, but he nodded. Yes, sir. Rebecca approached with a small case. I've prepared 3 canisters of modified sedative. It should affect Kraxon within seconds of inhalation. But humans should be fine. Good work, Alex said. You're coming too. The ship's computer announced, 2 minutes until Kraxon deadline. We need 1 more person, Alex said, looking around the bridge. I'll go, said Jordan, returning with the weapons. I've had combat training. Then it's settled, Alex said. Me, Rebecca, Ryan, and Jordan. We go in as surrendering officers, then take control of their environmental systems. He addressed the remaining cadets. If we're not successful, your priority is to protect the ship and crew. Get to the nearest Federation outpost and report what happened. Olivia took a deep breath as she moved to the command chair. What if they just destroy us when you go over? They won't, Alex said confidently. The Kraxon honor code prevents them from attacking surrendered enemies. They'll want to parade us as prisoners, show their superiority. 30 seconds until deadline, announced the computer. Alex tapped his communicator. Engineering, is the shuttle ready? Ready and waiting in Bay 2, came the response. Let's go, Alex said to his team. They hurried to the shuttle bay, each carrying hidden weapons and equipment. The modified shuttle was small, designed for only 6 people. Its exterior markings had been changed to indicate a surrender vessel. As they boarded, Alex looked at his team. Rebecca clutched her medical case containing the sedative canisters. Ryan held the environmental bypass device in his pocket. Jordan checked the hidden weapons one last time. Everyone clear on the plan? Alex asked. They nodded. Once we're aboard, we go straight for their environmental control room on Deck 3. We release the sedative, then make our way to the bridge. If we get separated, remember the schematics we reviewed. The shuttle's communication system crackled. Human vessel, your time is up. What is your decision? Commander Vikraz's voice was impatient. Alex took a deep breath and pressed the response button. This is Cadet Martinez. We are surrendering. A shuttle with senior officers is departing now to formally surrender our vessel. There was a pause. Very wise, human. Approach our main docking bay with shields down and no weapons. Understood, Alex replied, trying to sound defeated. As the shuttle left the Valiant, they could see all 3 Kraxon ships clearly through the viewport. The command ship was massive, with weapon ports visible along its hull. Shuttle identified, came the Kraxon voice. Proceed to docking bay 1. The shuttle moved slowly toward the enemy vessel. Through the viewport, they could see the docking bay doors open, revealing a brightly lit interior with several armed Kraxon soldiers waiting. Remember, Alex said quietly as they approached, we're supposed to be surrendering. Act defeated until we reach the environmental controls. The shuttle touched down in the docking bay. The team exchanged one final look. For the Valiant, Alex said. For the Valiant, they echoed. The shuttle door opened, and they stepped out into the Kraxon ship, hands raised in surrender. 6 tall Kraxon soldiers surrounded them immediately, towering over the humans. Their scales gleamed under the bright lights, and their yellow eyes watched the cadets with what seemed like amusement. A larger Kraxan with decorated armor stepped forward. "I am Sub-Commander Drazak. You will be taken to Commander Vikraz for formal surrender processing." Alex bowed his head respectfully. "We understand, we come peacefully." Drazak made a sound like a hiss. "Humans surrender so easily. No wonder your species will never be true warriors." As the Kraxan guards led them deeper into the ship, Alex caught Rebecca's eye. She nodded slightly. The plan was in motion. Now, they just had to reach the environmental control room without raising suspicion. The real mission had begun. The 4 human cadets walked down the long corridor of the Kraxan ship, surrounded by guards. Alex noticed every detail as they moved. The air was warmer than humans preferred, and there was a faint smell like damp earth. The corridor walls had a greenish tint. "The command deck is 5 levels up," Sub-Commander Drazak said. "Commander Vikraz will be pleased to add your surrender to his victory record." Alex nodded meekly. "How many humans has he defeated?" The question seemed to please Drazak. "You will be his 7th human surrender. He has the highest capture record in the Eastern Fleet." "Impressive," Alex said, trying to sound scared and respectful at the same time. As they walked, Alex counted the corridor markers. According to the ship plans he had memorized, the environmental control room should be just ahead at the next junction. He needed a distraction. "I feel sick," Rebecca suddenly said, stumbling slightly. "The gravity on your ship. It's different from ours." The Kraxan guards exchanged glances. One of them hissed something in their language. "Human weakness," Drazak said with disgust. "Can you walk, or must we carry you like an infant?" Rebecca straightened up. "I can walk. Just needed a moment." While attention was on Rebecca, Ryan had moved his hand to his pocket, clutching the environmental bypass device. Jordan positioned himself closer to the guard carrying their confiscated items, which included Rebecca's medical case. They reached the junction. Ahead was a turbolift that would take them up to the command deck. To the right was a short corridor leading to environmental controls. "We need to stop at your medical bay," Alex said suddenly. "My crew member needs treatment." Drazak's yellow eyes narrowed. "Your comfort is not our concern. You will see Commander Vikraz first." Alex tried another approach. "Is it not written in the Kraxan honor code that surrendered enemies should be kept in good health for proper interrogation?" Drazak seemed surprised that a human knew about their code. He considered for a moment, then gestured to 2 of the guards. "Take the sick one to medical. The rest will continue to the commander." This was not what Alex wanted. They needed to stay together. "Please," Alex said, letting desperation enter his voice. "She's my responsibility. Let me go with her." "Me too," Jordan added quickly. "I'm her brother." Drazak made an impatient sound. "Fine, you 3 go to medical." He pointed at 2 guards. "Take them. And you," he looked at Ryan, "will come with me to the commander." Ryan's eyes widened in alarm. Alex gave him a small nod, trying to communicate confidence. "The plan would have to change. We will meet again at processing," Drazak told Alex. Then he and 2 guards led Ryan toward the turbolift. Once they were gone, the remaining guards directed Alex, Rebecca, and Jordan down the right corridor. Alex felt a rush of excitement. They were going exactly where they needed to be. The medical bay was just past environmental controls. As they approached the environmental control room, Alex caught Jordan's eye and nodded slightly. Jordan stepped closer to the guard carrying Rebecca's medical case. "Excuse me," Jordan said, pretending to trip. He bumped into the guard, who growled in annoyance. In that brief moment of contact, Jordan slipped his hand into the medical case and palmed one of the sedative canisters. The guard didn't notice. They continued walking. The environmental control room was just ahead, its door marked with Kraxan symbols. Alex knew they would pass right by it on the way to medical. "How much further?" Rebecca asked, still playing the role of someone feeling ill. "Just ahead," one guard answered in rough human language. As they passed the environmental control room, Alex stumbled deliberately, crashing into the wall next to the door panel. He pressed his palm against the wall to steady himself, and in the process, slipped the small device Ryan had given him onto the control panel. It attached magnetically, its lights blinking once and then going dark as it camouflaged against the surface. "Stand straight, human," the guard ordered, pushing Alex forward. They continued to the medical bay. The door slid open to reveal a large room with several examination tables sized for the much larger Craxan bodies. A single Craxan medical officer looked up from a computer terminal, surprised to see humans. "These prisoners need medical attention before processing," one guard explained. The medical officer approached, towering over Rebecca. "What is wrong with this one?" While the medical officer focused on Rebecca, Alex looked at Jordan and nodded. Jordan carefully removed the cap from the sedative canister, keeping it hidden in his palm. Rebecca pointed to her stomach. "Pain here, and dizziness." The medical officer picked up a scanning device. "This will determine what is wrong." As the scanner hummed, Jordan silently rolled the canister across the floor. It came to rest under a ventilation intake. A moment later, a fine mist began to spray from the canister, immediately sucked into the ventilation system. Alex started counting in his head. According to Rebecca, the sedative should work within 30 seconds. The medical officer frowned at the scanner readings. "There is nothing wrong with you, human. Your systems are functioning within normal." The officer stopped mid-sentence, blinking rapidly. He swayed on his feet, then stumbled sideways. The two guards turned, reaching for their weapons. But they, too, began to blink and shake their heads as if trying to clear them. What is happening?" One guard slurred, fighting to stay upright. "Now," Alex shouted. Jordan moved quickly, grabbing the weapon from the guard as he collapsed to the floor. Rebecca rushed to the medical cabinet and grabbed restraints. Alex ran to the door controls and locked it. In less than a minute, all three Craxan were unconscious on the floor. The humans worked quickly to secure them with the restraints. "It worked," Rebecca said excitedly. "The device Ryan planted should be connecting to their environmental systems now," Alex said. "We need to get to the system controls to spread the sedative through the whole ship." They left the medical bay and hurried back to the environmental control room. The door was locked, but the device Ryan had planted had already bypassed the security. The door slid open when Alex approached. Inside, two Craxan technicians were slumped over their control panels, already affected by the sedative from the ventilation system. "Perfect," Alex said, moving to the main control panel. He studied the Craxan symbols, mentally translating them based on what he had learned. "Rebecca, connect the remaining canisters to this intake port," he instructed, pointing to a valve system. Rebecca worked quickly, attaching both remaining canisters to the main air system. "Done." Alex began typing on the Craxan keyboard, navigating through the ship's environmental controls. "I'm setting it to spread through all decks except the detention level. We don't want to knock out any human prisoners they might have." "What about Ryan?" Jordan asked, concerned. "He's with Drazak heading to the command deck." Alex nodded grimly. "The command deck has a separate air system, security feature. We'll need to get up there and help him." He finished the sequence and pressed the final control. On the screen, a ship diagram showed the air system activating throughout all main decks. Small dots representing crew members began to show as inactive. "It's working," Rebecca said, watching the display. "They're dropping all over the ship." "Now for Phase 2, Alex said. "Jordan, grab those communication devices from the technicians. We'll need them to monitor Craxan channels." As Jordan collected the devices, a panel on the wall suddenly lit up. It was a ship-wide alert system. "Security breach detected in environmental systems," a computerized voice announced in the Craxan language. Alex translated for the others. "They know something's wrong," he said. "We need to move fast. The command deck will be sealing itself off." "How do we get there?" Jordan asked. "The turbo lifts will probably be locked down." Alex moved to another panel and pulled up a ship schematic. "There's a maintenance shaft here," he pointed. "It runs from this level all the way up to the command deck. We can use it to bypass their security." "And Ryan?" Rebecca asked. He's smart, Alex said. He'll try to delay them as long as possible, but we need to hurry. They left the environmental control room, stepping over unconscious Craxon in the corridor. The sedative had worked perfectly. Not a single alien was still conscious on this level. The maintenance access is this way, Alex said, leading them down the corridor. Once we reach the command deck, we'll have to deal with Commander Vikraz and his bridge crew, and they'll be expecting trouble by now. How many do you think are up there? Jordan asked, checking the weapon he had taken from the guard. Based on standard Craxon command protocols, probably 8 to 10, Alex answered, including Vikraz. 10 against 3, Rebecca said nervously. Not great odds. Alex gave her a determined look. We've gotten this far by being smarter, not stronger. And we have surprise on our side. They won't expect humans to have taken control of their ship so quickly. They reached the maintenance access panel. Alex pried it open, revealing a narrow shaft with ladder rungs built into the wall. 5 decks up, he said, looking at the long climb ahead. Let's go. Ryan needs us. Alex climbed the maintenance shaft as quickly as he could. Rebecca and Jordan followed close behind. The shaft was narrow, designed for the maintenance robots rather than for Craxon bodies. This gave the humans an advantage, as they could move through it much more easily than their larger enemies. 2 more levels, Alex called down to the others. His arms were getting tired from climbing, but he pushed on. Meanwhile, on the command deck, Ryan was trying to stay calm. He stood before Commander Vikraz, a massive Craxon with deep green scales and a series of scars across his face. The commander sat in a large chair in the center of the bridge, surrounded by 9 other Craxon officers at various stations. So you are the leaders of this human training vessel? Vikraz asked, looking unimpressed. Ryan stood tall despite his fear. Yes, Commander, we surrender formally as requested. Sub-Commander Drazak stepped forward. The others were taken to medical. One claimed to be ill. Vikraz made a dismissive gesture. Typical human weakness. He turned his yellow eyes back to Ryan. Where is your captain? I expected a higher-ranking officer, Ryan thought quickly. Dead, sir. Killed in your first attack on our bridge. This seemed to please Vikraz. A pity. I would have enjoyed accepting his surrender personally. A beeping sound came from a console. One of the Craxon officers looked up with concern. Commander, we're detecting a security breach in the environmental systems. Vikraz turned sharply. Explain. Unknown contaminants spreading through decks 1 through 4. We've lost contact with multiple crew stations. Vikraz stood suddenly, towering over Ryan. What have you done, human? Ryan tried to look confused. I don't understand, sir. I've been here with you the whole time. Where are the other humans? Vikraz demanded. Being taken to medical, as Drazak said, Ryan answered, trying to buy time. Vikraz moved to a control panel. Seal the command deck. Lock down all turbolifts and access points. Deploy security teams to environmental control. The Craxon officer at communications spoke up. Unable to contact security teams, sir. No response from any station below Deck 5. Vikraz turned back to Ryan, his face inches from the humans. Your friends will not succeed. This ship has been in combat for 20 years. We have faced far worse than a few human cadets. Ryan tried not to show his fear. We surrendered as ordered, Commander. Perhaps there's a malfunction in your systems? Restrain him, Vikraz ordered. 2 officers moved to grab Ryan's arms. Back. In the maintenance shaft, Alex had reached the access panel for the command deck. He pressed his ear against it, listening carefully. He could hear voices on the other side speaking in the Craxon language. They know something's wrong, he whispered to the others. They're on alert. How do we get in without them seeing us? Rebecca asked, breathing hard from the climb. Alex studied the panel. This opens into a small equipment room off the main bridge. If we're quiet, we might be able to enter unnoticed. Jordan held up the weapon he had taken from the guard. I can go first, cover you. Alex shook his head. No, if we start shooting, Ryan could get caught in the crossfire. He thought for a moment. Rebecca, do you have anything in your medical kit that could create a distraction? Rebecca checked. The small pouch at her belt. I have a light sedative spray. It won't knock them out like the gas did, but it might disorient them for a few seconds. That will work, Alex said. Jordan, when we get in, look for the environmental controls for the command deck. They should be on the right wall near the main door. Alex carefully pushed the access panel, opening it just enough to peek through. The equipment room was small and empty. He pushed the panel fully open and climbed through, helping Rebecca and Jordan follow. The door to the main bridge was closed. Alex could hear Commander Vikras shouting on the other side. "Ready?" he whispered. The others nodded. Alex took a deep breath, then pressed the door control. It slid open, and they rushed onto the bridge. The Kraxan officers turned in surprise. Commander Vikras was standing in the center of the bridge, looming over Ryan, who was being held by two officers. "Now!" Alex shouted. Rebecca sprayed her sedative toward the nearest officers. It created a mist in the air, causing them to cough and rub their eyes. Jordan ran to the right wall, searching for the environmental controls. He found them and began connecting the final sedative canister that Rebecca had given him before they entered. "Stop them!" Vikras roared, seemingly unaffected by the spray. Alex ran toward Ryan. One of the officers holding him let go to reach for a weapon. Ryan took advantage of the moment, twisting free and elbowing the other officer hard in the stomach. The Kraxan doubled over, more in surprise than pain. "The controls!" Ryan shouted to Alex, pointing to the main command console. Alex understood immediately. He dove for the console, sliding across the polished floor. His hands flew over the controls, locking down the weapon systems. Vikras moved with surprising speed for his size. He grabbed Alex by the back of his uniform and lifted him off the ground. "Foolish human," Vikras snarled. "You think you can take my ship?" "Not think," Alex gasped, struggling in the powerful grip. "Doing it right now." At that moment, Jordan finished connecting the sedative canister to the command deck's air system. He activated it, and a fine mist began to spray into the room. Kraz saw what was happening and roared in anger. He threw Alex aside and charged toward Jordan. Rebecca stepped in his path, spraying the last of her sedative directly in his face. The commander staggered, his movements becoming uncoordinated. The other Kraxan officers were already dropping to their knees, affected by the gas filling the room. "Seal the bridge!" Alex shouted, scrambling back to his feet. "Don't let the gas escape into the rest of the ship." Ryan jumped to the door controls and locked them down. The sedative continued to fill the air. Kraz fought against its effects longer than the others. He stumbled toward Alex, reaching for him with massive clawed hands. "You will not take my ship," he gasped. "It's already taken," Alex replied, backing away. Finally, Vikras collapsed to the floor. The bridge was silent except for the breathing of the four humans. "Everyone okay?" Alex asked, looking at his team. They nodded, still catching their breath. "I can't believe that worked," Jordan said, looking around at the unconscious Kraxan officers. "It's not over yet," Alex said, moving to the main communication console. "We need to contact the Valiant and secure the rest of the ship. There could still be conscious Kraxan in sealed areas." He activated the ship-wide announcement system and spoke, clearly. "Attention all Kraxan crew. This is Cadet Alex Martinez of the Earth Space Force. Your ship has been captured. Surrender peacefully and you will not be harmed." Ryan looked at him with a mix of shock and admiration. "Did you just announce that we've taken over?" "Yes," Alex said. "The psychological impact is important, and any Kraxan still conscious will know they're outnumbered by their own unconscious crew." He turned to the communication system and set it to broadcast on the frequency used by Earth vessels. "USS Valiant, this is Cadet Martinez. Do you read me?" After a moment of static, Olivia's voice came through. "Alex, is that you? Where are you transmitting from?" "From the Kraxan command ship," Alex replied. "We've taken control of it." There was a stunned silence, then Olivia's voice returned. You what?" "We followed the surrender order," Alex said with a small smile. "We just didn't specify whose surrender it would be." He looked around at his team, who were securing, The unconscious Craxon officers with restraints found on the bridge. "The ship is ours," Alex said. "Now we need to use it to get the Valiant to safety. And then we need to contact Earth Space Force Command. I think we have a lot to report." 3 days later, Alex stood on the bridge of the Craxon command ship looking out at the stars. The massive vessel moved slowly through space, escorted by 2 Earth Space Force ships that had responded to their distress call. Behind them, the USS Valiant followed, its engines now repaired. "Still hard to believe we pulled it off," Ryan said, joining Alex at the viewport. Alex nodded. "The Craxon are starting to wake up. We'll need to transfer them to the holding cells on the Earth ship soon." The door to the bridge slid open and Rebecca entered. "Just finished checking on the Craxon in the medical bay. They're recovering. Well, no lasting effects from the sedative." "Good," Alex said. "I never wanted to hurt them, just stop them." Jordan's voice came over the communication system. "Alex, we're being hailed by Admiral Baker's ship. They're ready to board." "Tell them, we're ready," Alex replied. The 4 cadets gathered near the main airlock as the Earth Space Force officers prepared to board. They had all gotten little sleep over the past 3 days, working in shifts to maintain control of the Craxon vessel while keeping the crew sedated. The airlock cycled, and Admiral Baker stepped through, followed by a team of officers. The Admiral was a tall woman with gray hair and a stern expression. She looked around the Craxon ship with obvious surprise. "Cadet Martinez," she said, approaching Alex. "Your report said you captured this vessel with just 4 people." "Yes, Admiral," Alex replied, standing at attention. "We had no choice. They were going to destroy the Valiant." Admiral Baker studied him for a moment. "Do you know what you've done, Cadet?" Alex swallowed nervously. Had they broken some rule? Some law of space combat he didn't know about? "We've completed a full scan of this vessel," the Admiral continued. "It's carrying data cores with the patrol routes and security codes for the entire Craxon border fleet. Intelligence has been trying to get this information for years." The Admiral's stern expression suddenly broke into a smile. "You may have just prevented a war, Cadet. The Craxon have been increasing border violations for months. We suspected they were planning something big but had no proof." "We were just trying to save our ship, Admiral," Alex said honestly. "And in doing so, you've given Earth an incredible advantage in the peace talks scheduled next month," the Admiral replied. "Not to mention capturing Commander Vikraz, who has been responsible for numerous attacks on our outposts." One of the officers approached the Admiral and whispered something in her ear. She nodded. "Cadet Martinez, I need to speak with you privately," she said. Alex followed her to a quiet corner of the corridor. "We found something else in the ship's databanks," the Admiral said quietly. "Evidence that the Craxon staged this attack specifically to capture your training vessel." "Why would they want a training ship?" Alex asked, confused. "Not the ship," the Admiral explained. "The crew. Over 200 cadets, all with the potential to become officers. It appears they plan to use you all as hostages in the upcoming negotiations." Alex felt cold at the thought. If they had surrendered as ordered. "Your decision to take action likely saved everyone on the Valiant from becoming prisoners of war," the Admiral said. "Or worse." She put a hand on his shoulder. "You acted on instinct, but it was the right call. Not many experienced officers would have had the courage to attempt what you did." Alex thought about the moment when he had made his decision on the bridge of the Valiant. It hadn't felt like courage at the time, just necessity. "What happens now?" he asked. "Now we get you and your crew home," the Admiral said. "There will be debriefings, of course. A lot of people will want to hear this story firsthand." They returned to the others. A medical team was now checking the cadets for injuries, while security personnel were beginning to transport the sedated Craxon to the Earth ships. Alex watched as Commander Vikraz was carried past on a stretcher, still unconscious but with restraints, securing his massive arms. The commander had fought the sedative longer than any other Craxon. "What will happen to them?" Alex asked the Admiral. "They'll be treated well," she answered, "and likely exchanged in prisoner transfers once negotiations begin. Vikraz will probably face charges for his border violations, though." Olivia's voice came through Alex's communicator. "Alex, this is the Valiant. All systems are now online. We're ready to return to Earth. Good work, Olivia, Alex replied. We'll be joining you soon. A week later, the USS Valiant docked at Earth Space Force Academy. A crowd had gathered to welcome them home. News of what the cadets had done had spread quickly through the ranks. As Alex and his team stepped off the ship, they were met with applause. The Academy Commandant, General Lewis, stepped forward. Cadet Martinez, he said formally, on behalf of Earth Space Force, I commend you and your team for extraordinary courage and initiative under fire. Alex stood at attention. Thank you, sir. We just did what we had to do. You did more than that, the general replied. You showed the kind of thinking we need in our officers. He looked at the crowd. These cadets were ordered to surrender. Instead, they captured an enemy command ship. More applause followed. Alex felt uncomfortable with the attention. He glanced at his team, who looked equally surprised by the reception. Later, in the Academy debriefing room, Alex sat across from a panel of senior officers. They had spent hours going over every detail of what had happened. Just one more question. Cadet, Admiral Chen said, looking up from his notes. When ordered to surrender, what made you decide to take their ship instead? Alex thought carefully about his answer. The Kraxan expected us to either run, fight, or surrender conventionally. All three options would have ended with our defeat. So I looked for the fourth option they weren't expecting. A valuable lesson in tactical thinking, the Admiral noted. There's something else, sir, Alex added. When we were training in tactical history, Professor Garcia always said, sometimes the best defense is a completely unexpected offense. I just applied what I learned. The debriefing ended, and Alex rejoined his team outside. The four of them walked across the Academy grounds, still trying to process everything that had happened. They're saying they might turn our mission into a training scenario for future cadets, Jordan said with a laugh. God help those poor cadets, Ryan replied. Shaking his head, Rebecca smiled. At least they won't have to figure it out on the fly like we did. Alex looked up at the night sky, where stars were just becoming visible. Somewhere up there, the Kraxan were probably already planning their response to what had happened. But, for now at least, everyone was safe. His crew, his ship, his friends. You know what the funny thing is? He said to the others. We did technically follow orders. How do you figure that? Jordan asked. Alex smiled. We were ordered to surrender. We just didn't surrender ourselves. The four cadets laughed as they walked toward the Academy buildings, their incredible story already becoming legend among the stars.